So how many of you guys are currently looking at this screen? How many of you got that going on your handset, your iPad? Don't worry, you're not in the queue for Oasis tickets. Not really. I'm here. This is probably the image absolutely everyone. I'm just doing it because I'm curious to see how long it will take. You're in a queue. Many fans are currently using our site. Did anyone else get, if you're, this is obviously for the Oasis tickets, did anyone else get the curious message which said, you've been identified as a bot, go away? It was really odd. It's like, I thought, oh, this is the Ticketmaster excuse, is it? Morning, Becky. Morning, Mart. Morning, Steph. Morning, Cloda. Morning, Margaret. Deborah McCartney. Yeah, did you get that? There was a moment where it says your IVP whatever is something or other. Hi, Leo is something, and you're a nasty little maybe they know that you're not an Oasis fan. I don't know. But anyway, around the nation, people are currently seeing this screen everywhere. Spinning wheel of death, as we call it. Morning, Russ. Long time no see. Yeah, sorry, it was too late for me to be able to do the 1 o'clock yesterday. Many apologies. It's been an odd week. Anyway, how are we all? I hope you're well. I hope you're well, Sarah. Welcome if you're listening on podcast. I will do my best where there are picture stories to describe the pictures to you. But let's have a quick stroll through the front pages, shall we? And then we'll start to clamber backwards. So let's have a look. Daily Mail. Oh, God. William and Harry didn't share a word at memorial. Estranged princes both attend uncle's service, but witnesses say they appeared to stay apart. Just leave them alone. Apparently they were on either side of the aisle and all that kind of stuff. Won't look back in anger, says the Sun. Obviously, great opportunity to Royal Division plus Oasis song, Manna from Heaven to headline creators. Front of the Mirror, Jermaine in battle to save marriage. Obviously, this was all over the papers last weekend, so let's squeeze a little bit more from the story. Shame Star's dad reveals sex message sacking has hit family hard. It does speak to the fact, as we all said before, always think of the family and always think of the kids before the person who's actually at the center of the drama. Daily Express, most of the papers leading with this. Is the weight loss drug OZEMPIC the secret to the fountain of youth? I think it is for Angela Rayner. Look at her go there. We're going to be talking about her too. OZEMPIC, hailed as fountain of youth. Anyone here on OZEMPIC for diabetic or sort of, I don't mean justified, but kind of, for real reasons? Is it still diabetics only? Ty Torrey. OZEMPIC hailed as fountain of youth. That's Kate Winslet on the right there, looking very, very severe. Weight loss drugs curb effects of getting old. There's nothing about that one wouldn't like, is there really? Weight loss, curb effects of getting old, and for an addict like me, drugs. All those words in that headline are wonderful. And anyway, so all of the papers look at. Anyone here? Actually, important question. Have any of you had black marks on a plug prong? Julie the singing nutcase, she asks the killer questions at the right times. I don't know, sweetie, is my honest answer to that. Morning, Sharon Cox. Hi, Nicola Madgwick. Okay, so let's move into these headlines, shall we? So obviously the smoking ban, isn't it funny how it's either banning biscuits, banning tea, how you butter or cream a scone, and cigarette smoking. That's the only thing that's going to cause a revolution in this country, and we're on the edge of one right now. Smoking bans outside pubs. I don't know. I can't get clarity on what I think about this. I think it's right to ban smoking outside schools, at bus stops. I think it's already the case, but it never happens. Outside schools, outside hospitals, outside civic. I think even football stadiums. That kind of makes sense because you wouldn't smoke in a theatre, would you, or anything like that? But I don't know. Pubs. Yeah, thanks, Dina. Dina says it as it is. They're suffering enough. Don't make them suffer anymore. Or, I mean, if you're really wanting to go to a pub for a pubby experience and sit outside, I don't know. There was a Montenegrin smoking 85 cigarettes near me whilst we were away, and it was annoying, but I could have just moved. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, So this story won't go away. So Labour is now being urged, rather than banning smoking outside pubs and in areas outside clubs, they should ban the use of vapes indoors. We don't know enough about vapes, do we? We just don't know enough. It does seem strange. And Esther McVeigh caused a lot of upset yesterday because she used as an analogy a poem that talked of the Jewish Holocaust when she was talking about how awful the smoking ban was. I think it was a clumsy analogy, as she said herself. Fury at McVeigh, Holocaust poem over smoking row. She's faced a backlash from Jewish groups after citing a Holocaust poem. It's the one where they say first they came for the communists and the socialists, and then they came for the Jews, and then they came for me, and there was no one there to save me. So she's under the gamut there. But what do we think, guys? I know we talked about it a couple of days ago. It's been rumbling along. Even Matthew Wright's still talking about it this morning. I didn't know so much. Apparently, someone was saying earlier, only 10% of the country smoke. Was it Nadia who said that? I think she did. But look, in bigger news than smoking, tobacco is so heavily taxed in Australia, people don't smoke because they simply can't afford it. Well, it's getting like that here. Janine K, I'm Jewish and I'm not offended. Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, well, there you go. I think she was trying to make a point that it's the thin end of the wedge. I mean, yeah, we can all perhaps choose better analogies. I think what she was trying to say was, is this the thin end of the wedge? And I know that when I did the poll on Wednesday, was it Wednesday? Thursday, lots of you feel that we are living in a nanny state. I'm going to ask this quick question. Dina, do you think we live in a nanny state?
Totally.
There you go. Straight. I love it. No shade of ambiguity. Leave us alone, even. Absolutely. Leave us alone. No shadow of doubt there. Sharon H, I agree. Smoking needs to be banned, especially at the entrances of restaurants. I think in all the areas where no one has a choice to go through. But I think if you know there's a smoker, I know a garden in a pub is going to be full of smokers. I mean, it's just standard, isn't it? Anyway, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, I was going to call her Claire Rayner. What's her fucking first name? I forgot her name. What is it? Angela Rayner. Jesus Christ. Sorry, it's been one of those weeks, guys. Angela Rayner, out clubbing, pounding like a nut job at an Ibiza super club. Boo, 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 boo. Obviously, there's the footage, but you can't use the music. She's the Minister of Sound. Now, what I want to do here is, let's do a little media studies lesson. Let's look at how the Daily Mail has covered Angela Rayner dancing in a club. It's interesting, this. So here she is, having a bit of fun, dancing, having a drink. She's not dropping acid. She's not taking drugs. She's not smoking. She's not using a vape. She's the Minister of Sound. Rayner hosts meeting in London and then jets for a 4 a.m. Ibiza club rave. Okay, so far not so bad, but we know it's the Daily Mail, so you always know that there's going to be a sting in the tail, don't you? You know it's going to be a sting in the tail. Bellex. Oh, look, Bellex says, it's shocking you can't enjoy yourself without getting filmed. It kind of goes with the territory a little bit. Lee, Rayner is showing her true number 2 colours here. Okay, well, let's move on. On the opposite page to that in the Daily Mail, it says this. I don't begrudge anyone a break, but this behaviour demeans her office.
Oh, how ridiculous.
Oh, God. And that's...
people be many things? Why can't women be many things? I really hate that.
And it's always women, isn't it? Pulling down women. And this is Nadine Dorries. I don't begrudge anyone a break, but this behaviour demeans her office. And the question I simply wanted to ask you guys, does this demean her office? I seem to remember Michael Gove dancing like a nut job. Didn't he? And I thought, all strength to his elbow. I don't think he was using his elbows. But does anyone see anything wrong with Angela Rayner going to Ibiza, having a dance and a boogie? Does it demean her office? I mean, the Daily Mail thinks it demeans her office. I mean, the stupid thing about this is there's always going to be didn't Nadine go in the jungle? Good point, Russ. Here's the thing. By this standard, because what they're trying to say is Starmer called short his summer holidays. But Angela Raver, that's the next headline. That's why I said it. Look at this. Angela Raver has gone for a night to Ibiza and she's partied like a nut job. Now, the weird thing about this is, what could we do? What if let's take a photograph of Keir Starmer sleeping at night or Angela Rayner sleeping at night, and what would the Daily Mail do? Go, shock horror, they sleep whilst country is still alive. I mean, you can always point to them doing something at some point if they want to just have some downtime. And it was like minutes. It was like minutes. So obviously the Daily Mirror, much more of a left-wing paper, calls her the Angela Raver. There she goes. Look, boo, 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 boo. I'm amazed the right-wing press haven't tried to claim she's sort of doing a communist march or something. Deputy PM dances night away with DJ friends in a bit. How do you know they're friends? She's just dancing. Here's some more images here. Angela Rayner, the Raver, says the Sun, Minister of Sound. I seem to remember, wasn't there footage of, was it the Swedish or the Finnish or the Norwegian Prime Minister or someone, female woman, dancing like an absolute nut, dancing like no one was looking. And she got pilloried as well, didn't she, by the press? Outrageous. She's having a laugh. She's a different generation. This is what we want. I don't care about being one thing. I'm happy seeing a minister in the government, and I've got all my issues still, the same issues with the Labour Party, but I'm happy seeing them raving. Speaks to reality. Thank you, Amfran. She's not got her tongue down someone's throat and hand on arse during working hours. I'd see that as an improvement on previous. So do I. I don't see it as demeaning her office. I see it as actually being real. It's better than Michael Gove's dancing, says Amy. Let's not get into dance shaming. It's not nice. It's not nice. But you're right. You're absolutely right. So there you go. I think leave her alone. Leave her alone. I think she's having a laugh. She's boop, boop, boop. Do you like house, Ange? Oh, that's a bit of a dig, isn't it? See what the Sun did there. Do you like house? Oh, yeah. Okay, so moving on. If smoking ban gets you hot under the collar, pub bosses told to expect minimum alcohol pricing. I didn't realise this. Did you, Dina? That minimum alcohol pricing is already in place in Scotland.
Well, I got the cheapest round of drinks ever in Scotland.
Oh, did you? Oh, now where this could work. Oh, that's an interesting point. Where this could work is minimum pricing. This is the idea that you can't sell alcohol for less than a certain price, obviously. But of course, some are worrying that this speaks to the nanny state thing. But it's also coming from a place like the smoking ban of trying to, by stealth, if you like, make us healthier. I mean, on the one hand, we're going to get to the story in a minute. You've got OZEMPIC, which you can jab in your arm and it makes you fucking healthy. And then you've got things like maybe, not being able to sell alcohol too cheaply. I mean, the problem with this story for me, Mark Cooper looks like Wetherspoons are going to become even more popular then. Exactly. What I don't understand about this is a minimum price when most alcohol sold in pubs is vastly overpriced, isn't it? Isn't that true? I mean, most people are trying to get alcohol. This is in pubs. This is pub bosses told to expect minimum alcohol pricing. Most youngsters, most people buy their alcohol, from the supermarket or, off the shelf. So this one strikes. So I suppose this must speak to the fact that some pubs sell some alcohols for lower than a certain price, which I never hear. Maybe that is the case in other parts of the country. I don't know. I want to touch on this because it's important. Nadia did a post about this yesterday. Israel's invasion of the West Bank and now their spurious claims that they have also killed a Hamas target. It's interesting. Any aggression and hostility is immediately justified if you say the word Hamas. It's still carrying on. It's still happening. They hit an aid convoy going in, and this is at the same time that they are or have negotiated time slots for the WHO to go in or to issue vaccines for polio. There seems to be a sort of cold, sinister brutality to all of this. Nadia's incoming, but I just want to say the West Bank issue right now is a shocking new development that I'm almost still, because it's been such a weird week, I'm reeling in shock. I'm in shock that we've heard nothing. Though, to be fair, the British government have today said they are concerned. But we've heard that. We've heard that so many times.
Concerned?
Yeah.
Have you seen them rounding them up in the West Bank as well and taking them off?
blindfolded and everything.
I just know this is just an important point because Hamas doesn't run the West Bank. What seems to be happening here is that it's been described as a preemptive strike. Danny fucking Price has posted a carousel.
Sorry, Dan.
No, sorry. Do you want to say it? No, Danny fucking Price has posted a carousel post on his Instagram, making a very important point, which is we've seen over the last 9 months the extent to which the West Bank has been so oppressed in terms of restriction of money, restriction of business, restriction of movement, curfews everywhere. When they've been winding them up, settlers, illegal settlements, and when the West sort of po-faced and reluctantly say, well, we're worried about the settlers, but sort of like to consider it not a serious thing. They have the Israeli government, the settlers, they have aggravated the West Bank. They are trying to create an extremist response from the West Bank, which speaks to an important question that needs to be asked. At what point in the West Bank, which is run by the Palestinian Authority, do Palestinians have the right to self-defense? It's an important question. At what point?
Imagine that somebody comes in and just takes your house and throws you out, because that's what I think a lot of people don't actually understand.
No. I've just said it's the illegal settlements. It's the throwing of people out of their homes. It's the taking of their land, their furniture, their occupation. Palestinians can't seek building permits or residential permits at all. It's impossible. So then the Israeli authorities come in, take the properties away. It is what they are doing. They're trying to create the monster, the same monster in their eyes in the West Bank to justify the same encroachment. And it seems coincidental that they're moving and increasing their maneuvers in the West Bank as the American election sort of moves along, so that when they get to the election point, Trump can really kind of campaign on this, because Trump's major donor wants the West Bank essentially given back to Israel. This is totally equivalent to many historic land grabs by many oppressive, fascistic Putin regimes through history, where small incremental justifications for going in, the same justification you could argue in Ukraine, this is an outrage, and this is being done by stealth. And that already, this is the first day that we get this headline, which is where in the West, everyone falls over in a complete mess of a heap, because as soon as Israel say they have killed a Hamas target, everyone suddenly goes, oh, we don't know what to do with that because Hamas is designated illegal. So the question everyone you need to ask in your life is, putting Hamas to the side, when you have taken a people's entire hope, dreams, aspirations, livelihood, and health, and sanity, and education, and everything, you've stripped them of everything in the so-called freer West Bank, when they have nowhere to turn and no options and no choices, and then you go in and you bulldoze and imprison and terrorize through government settlers and state support, at what point is Palestine, the Palestinians in the West Bank, allowed the dignity of self-defense when we've heard it thrown around so much on behalf of Israel? Is it the only nation in the world that is not allowed to self-defend? Is the West Bank not allowed to defend themselves? And if they do, because we are not holding Israel to account at all, if they do self-defend in some way, it's going to be easy for Israel to forever say it's a terrorist cell, it's Hamas, it's madness. It is gaslighting madness, which the West isn't being gaslit. As many, many more observers are saying, America is complicit directly. This isn't about turning a blind eye. They are engaged. It's outrageous. And then to add into this, as Nadia said, the vaccine campaign, it just speaks to another inhumanity. The vaccine campaign, Israel have agreed to pauses in fighting to issue these vaccinations, not for the welfare of the children, but for the welfare of the Israeli population and soldiers. They don't care.
They're going to stop bombing children between the hours of 6.
They'll stop bombing them. They'll vaccinate them to bomb them.
And then at 3 p.m., they will start killing them again. What do we think of that? Me
too. Thank you so much. That's as simple as it is. Let's be frank. Israel's victim card has expired. The right to self-defense exists for everyone to a point. But why doesn't it exist for the Palestinians, specifically also in the West Bank? Interesting. Anyway, sorry, haven't had a chance to talk about that. This statistic. This is depressing. This is a very, very small headline on page whatever in the Times. Do you remember there was that campaign about domestic abuse around the Euros? Obviously, we were all very excited about it. But the downside of the Euros is the domestic abuse figures when England lose is horrendous. But even the domestic abuse figures when we win are hideous too. There's a report here in the Times saying that the police recorded 351 incidents of domestic abuse linked to the Euro 2024. And what's particularly worrisome about that is that the number has almost doubled since 2021. Now, don't forget, these are the numbers that have been officially, rung in and processed, if you like. So a big doubling spike in domestic abuse after the Euros this year. Doubling as in, 3 years, it was 3 years prior because of the pandemic, but normally, over a 4-year period. So what does that mean? It's going to double again next year? That's a bad statistic, to use the simple language of Donald Trump. So yeah, I just thought, again, we talked about that, didn't we? It was part of that sort of domestic abuse campaign prior to the Euros. Here's the OZEMPIC, hailed as fountain of youth. Okay, here's the question: if no one's using it because it should be used, it's been designed for diabetics. Would you use this if this was made available on the NHS? There's I think 11 reports or 11 studies this week have shown that Ozempic has all sorts of beneficial aspects to it in terms of reducing blood pressure, and helping with so many other sort of health conditions. Well, Nadia's saying big pharma in the background. Are we looking at a miracle pill? And again, the danger with something like this is it might do all of these things, but what are the side effects? Does leaning on something like Ozempic, because now basically the story here is it's being hailed as beneficial to everyone. Nikki Burton, so I bet you are. So many diabetics are furious because they can't get it for their diabetes because of the global shortage. You're absolutely right. One of the issues with all of this is it's like so many kind of short, sharp kind of cures or solutions. When you look at the actual analysis of what this drug does, it's inhibitors, and it tells you not to feel hungry and not want to eat and all this, and it has to be kind of measured and moderated and so. But it doesn't deal with why you're eating or why you're doing the things that you're doing or lifestyle. It doesn't speak to lifestyle. So again, I sometimes worry with even something like this. Yes, there may be many benefits to it, but until you've got at least 10, do we learn nothing from things like, was it thalidomide, the drug? Give it 10, 20 years. It's like since the COVID vaccines, we've gone kind of gung-ho Western style. It's like if something has a great result in a day, let's all run with it. It's not to say you've got to have tests, you've got to have processes and all this kind of stuff. This isn't about affordability, as with other drugs, as we know, the Alzheimer's drug that the NHS is refusing to take on, Enhertu that they're refusing to take on. But I do worry that we've got no sort of, 11 studies might show that it does great things. Who's funded those studies? Is it Big Pharma? Who's selling them? Who's making them? What are the side effects? And what are the side effects across a much longer period of time? And none of it speaks to this or this, the emotions, the mentals, all of that stuff. So my worry when I see this is this fountain of youth headline is just everyone's going to see it as this kind of holy grail, and actually we are a bit like vaping. It's like, the vaping is going to be great. It's not to say vaping's a good analogy. Vaping as a step down from smoking to try and stop smoking, I get. That's how I first came across electric cigarettes with an editor from America who used to plug him into the edit suite, and he was trying to he was a heroin addict, then he gave up alcohol, then he tried to give up smoking, and then he'd come down to vape. So for me, from heroin addict to vaping, I can see the climb down. But we've got to a point now where vaping is kind of almost just being marketed as an alternative. It's not like a step down from smoking. It's like just something different. And this, especially for young people, we just don't know. And likewise with this, is this just going to become something that they just is a quick fix without any real understanding? What do you think, guys? Big Dawn Decker, Big Pharma, are not known for being entirely truthful in pursuit of profits. Careful when you say that. If you say big pharma might not be honest for some reason, you get shot in the head. It's ridiculous. Dawny, hi Dawny. I've been on a weight loss drug and never been so ill. The side effects are horrendous. Really, Dawny, that's interesting. I mean, I know people who've taken sort of alcohol restrictions, similar drugs that do the same thing for alcoholism, and the spiraling madness that can kick in the head. None of the pills can help with the head shit. Hi, Reese. Reese, it has the unnerving effect of strangely making a lot of OZEMPIC users look like bobbleheads due to the shredding of weight so quickly. It is odd. It is odd. Lee, Darren, hi, mate. Hope you got my birthday message on Thursday. Vaping is like on here. Vaping is like a fashion accessory these days. You're absolutely right. Siobhan Jordan, major pharmaceutical companies making billions off the back of vulnerabilities. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why people struggle to get on board with the idea that there is an inherent problem with the monetization of healthcare. I don't get it. Which brings us to, well, it doesn't really bring us to at all. Donald Trump. The biggest regret I think I have in recent years is signing up to Truth Social. The guy doesn't stop fucking posting. Every 6 minutes, Donald Trump's post. I mean, I know it's his team. I know it's not him, but Donald, come on. Anyway, so Kamala Harris did her first interview this week with CNN. She sat alongside Waltz. And what did Trump have to say? Trump said, it's boring. She's so boring. Trump says it was boring. I say it was boring. She was rambling. Oh, so rambling. She was rambling. She was boring. She was talking the same thing, saying things back to front. Boring. I mean, I don't know if you remember when, what's his face? He was involved in the Rust shooting, Alec Baldwin. He used to play Trump, didn't he, on Saturday Night Live? And that would always be his Natasha Tiramos. He really is a toddler. He's so boring. It bores me. I think his boredom threshold is low. I was listening to Scaramucci on please listen to The Rest is Politics US. Katie Kaplan, I think is it that name, and Scaramouche. But he talks about how Trump's definitely ADHD. He's worked with him. Definitely dyslexic. He said he gets bored with reading. He doesn't even like autocue and all that kind of stuff. So he's restless. So he will have been bored because she won't have been saying stuff that he can't sink his teeth in anyway, can he? She's just so boring. Trump's now wanted to suggest that the Canadian Prime Minister is Castro's love child. This is just insane. He doesn't like old Justin Trudeau, does he? Donald Trump has fanned a wild rumor that Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's love child. The ex-president writes in a new book, a lot of people say Justin is his son. He swears that he isn't. But how the hell would we know? How would we know? How will we know? We'll never know. It's just Castro. Listen to this. Castro had good hair. The father didn't. Justin has good hair and has become a communist just like Castro. So because Justin Trudeau has good hair and because Castro had good hair, he's Castro's son. One of the things Kamala Harris did say was in a sort of reach out to kind of broaden her base, she says she's willing to have a Republican in her government. So she played with a straight bat, nothing sensational, but nothing terrible. I think the reading into her interview was finally she's come out, she hasn't said much, she hasn't put any meat on the bones, but it wasn't a catastrophe. And as far as it comes to something when the papers are reporting, Kamala Harris's interview with CNN doesn't set off the fireworks, but it's not a disaster. Reese says, it's also given Kamala's past running experience and her jarbled communication at times and the fact that she hasn't done any interviews in the lead up, she's facing a lot of scrutiny. Yeah. There are some trying to suggest she had an earpiece, but that always happens with every single, hang on a minute. Oh, headline, hang on. Update on the Oasis tickets front. Let me just quickly coming in. Hang on 1 second. Oh, Christ. What's happening? Oh, okay. No, nothing. So I just needed to check. Just making sure. So yes, Trump's nephew says he is showing signs of dementia, says Juby. Problem with this is people have been saying this about him for years. I just think his disconnected thinking is sometimes more extreme some days than it is others. Um, da, 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 da. So hang on a minute. Where have I? Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to find the next story. Oh, the classic, the Daily Mail here. The Carnival of Carnage. I just got a very quick thing to say about this. So the center page is spread, and of course, you know, it was awful what's happened. Look, here we go. They list it: 5 stabbings, 350 arrests, 13 for sexual offence. I don't remember seeing them go into this level of detail in any of the, let's call them what they were, far right riots. Does anyone else? So at a carnival, admittedly, all of these things are reprehensible. All of these things need to be dealt with. And all of these things, one needs to think about how one can prevent this getting worse or being bad. But this is less about the facts, because I'd love to know what the statistics are. And does anyone have any Scooby-Doo as to where you can find these? What are the statistics across a football season of the arrests across a season, of the violence, of the disorder, of the stabbings, etc.? Because the point I just want to make here is all of the violence in all its forms is reprehensible and terrible. And these are terrible. And I remember when I was a kid, a friend of mine's father came back from Carnival and he didn't realize he'd been stabbed. He found a knife in his back. You know, these things have happened all the time. But it's just the focus and the emphasis in the right-wing press is just so clearly prejudiced. 5 stabbings, YouTube, and 1 million visitors. I'd like to know what the number of stabbings is in perhaps just even one weekend of football matches across the country. But we won't get those statistics because there isn't an appetite to find those statistics, because there isn't a desire to poison the wellspring of multiculturalism, of that kind of culture. There is a desire to poison the wellspring of multiculturalism, which is why these stories run. I just saw it and I just thought, oh, classic Daily Mail. Classic. Yes, of course it's wrong. Of course it's bad. And two-tier policing and all that bollocks. No, sorry. Okay, hang on. Oh, no, hang on. Alert, Oasis. There we go. No, still not there. Sorry, mate. Sorry, just coming back. Sorry, just got to keep checking. Fans delight at reunion. Oasis reunion tour upstaged by profits from reselling. Apparently, tickets have been sold, have been bought and then sold for being sold for £6,000. Oasis had to issue a statement saying, you know, you can only buy from these reputable places, and even if you buy resells or whatever, there's only certain websites that you can go to. £6,000 though. So obviously in the ballot, did anyone here win a ticket in the ballot? I know, Zoe, you were waiting. Who?
Kim.
Oh, Kim, you did. Sorry, Kim. Yes, you said earlier. Let's have a look. There's nothing worse than looking back in anger at being ripped off as Oasis fans face inflated ticket prices. Let's just have another little look-see. Yeah, no, it's not only not going along the list, but almost going back. Yawn. It's just Oasis forever. Mad for it. Well, of course, are we going to have a complete sort of nostalgia kick? Are we going to be oh, look, there's Liam Gallagher. Maybe that's when Nadia fell in love with him. He's got a Cornish jumper on, Nads.
Oh.
Liam Gallagher, long hair, shades, and Cornish jumper. That's the look I'm going for tonight, and I'm going to wear a pair of wellies too. There we go. It is interesting how that font is so synonymous with them, isn't it? So anyway, we're going to have all the Oasis clobber. Noel Gallagher's daughter chides fans for ageism and misogyny. Anais has criticised ageism and misogyny among diehard Oasis fans who fear they'll miss out on tickets to see the band because of newer, younger fans. Lots of people of my age who are probably stumbling around online, unable to press the right buttons, unable to focus on what it says to do next, are getting pissed off that younger people are able to negotiate the websites. Nadia only discovered the other day there's the internet. Can you imagine that? It's quite something. Didn't you, Michelle? Fingers crossed for you, Zoe. Shopping for love. Singletons are swapping Tinder for a trolley. I like this. This is interesting. I feel there's a format for a show in this, Nat. Singletons in Spain are swapping dating apps for flirting time in supermarkets. And as you go shopping, an upside-down pineapple suggests that you're up for fruity connection. The new trend has seen Gen Z members flocking to branches of Mercadona between 7 and 8, hoping to find a romantic spark. Inspired by an online dating game, single young people have been told to pick up a pineapple from the fruit aisle, hold it upside down, and then go to the wine section. MeTube says that late night supermarket shops have always been about this. It's not new. Really? There was me running around for snacks, and I was wondering why people were always hovering around in certain aisles, not really looking like they were properly shopping. I was just there getting snacks for me and the kids to watch some triple bill of Harry Potter or something. I didn't realize it was a thing. It's like Natasha, it's just like pampas grass all over again. And in fact, it's a pineapple. Isn't a pineapple really rude as an emoji? Is that right, Nads? Nads would know this. Is a pineapple rude? I don't know. I think it might be. What if they are out of pineapples, says May Edmondson? That's a good question, especially at Sainsbury's. I've not seen a good pineapple there for years. A ride laugh. Let's get to the news that matters. Country show replaces horses with hobby ones. Hobby horses will replace real steeds at an historic country show because of health and safety concerns. And their little subtitle at the top is, "Nay, it can't be true." Hobby horses. Oh, man. The thing that made me pull this story was just the ability as a kid to imagine there was a horse there. I mean, I used to imagine there was a horse for cowboys and Indians and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, the strength of imagination. It feels like a Monty Python sketch, though, doesn't it? Yeah, MeTube, if no pineapples, 2 melons, avocado, you naughty little thing. Get some aubergines. Oh, I'm amazed it's not aubergines or peaches. A peach is cheeky, says Keely Wendell. Don't. We're getting emoji aroused. I'm not, but you might be. Yeah, a ride laugh. There you go. No more horses. They're replacing them with hobby ones. I think that would be funny and hysterical to watch. Big £22,000 Beano 2p comic with mask worth a fortune. A unique copy of the first Beano, still with its free gift, may become the most expensive British comic ever when it sells at auction. Was anyone into the Beano? Was it Beano that had Desperate Dan? There were two. What was the competitor with the Beano? There was the Beano and then there was another. Anyway, was it Desperate Dan Plug with the ears? Was he in it? And wasn't there the Bash Street Kids or something? Backstreet Kids or something like that? Yeah. The edition was first published on July 30th, 1938. Many of you are probably thinking, my God, what was Beano? £22,000. The Dandy. That was it. That was Desperate Dan. I used to get the Dandy. I never really liked the Beano. It was the Beano, Dennis the Menace. Yeah, Dennis the Menace. He kind of annoyed me. I found Dennis the Menace a bit annoying. The Daily Star, I know everyone's Oasis out, and just quickly check, I'm not getting anywhere, am I? No, not at all. Oasis, Daily Star takes it around. If Liam, look at the bottom title there, the subtitle. If Liam and Noel can make up, then so can Russia and Ukraine. What? I can hear you asking, what? Well, on page 5, As You Are, tribute band. Oasis could save the world, say the bot band that helped the Warren Gallaghers bury the hatchet. They penned an LP in the band's style using AI, but drummer John Clare said no one ever really thought of Liam and Noel reuniting, but I think we forced their hand. They suggested the band play a concert for peace on the... So a tribute band that performs with AI generated has created a headline on the front of the Daily Star suggesting that Oasis could save the world. Weird. Even by the Daily Star standards, that's a weird one. Brett Weiner, mainstream media now covering COVID adverse reactions. Has Mark covered that yet? I did 3 weeks ago. Absolutely. All of the claims against AstraZeneca. Golden balls. What's this about? We talked about this earlier in the week. This is blokes embrace manscaping look thanks to TikTok. All I want to say about this, we've been there. We've discussed it. Lee Durrant, put the razor down. Careful when manscaping your balls. Okay? It's tricky. And moving on to the silly, which do is best? Let's mull it over. Best haircut? Let's mullet. Oh, anyone here with a mullet? I mean, I know old Paul is it Paul Mescal? Paul Mescal. He's got a mullet, hasn't he? Got a very short mullet. Check these out. Look at this. I thought that was Ian Botham at the bottom. Anyone else? It was the USA Mullet Championships. But check these out. So you got that guy down the bottom doing a very saucy Ian Botham. Look at these two, Kane Grissinger, Matt Rollins. I love the kind of glass of, what is it? Sort of coffee, or it's going to be a deeply strong kind of spirit that puts hair on your tongue. Well, and it's put something else on his tongue. And look at that, Todd Grubb. Check that out. And there's Calvin Johnson there with a mullet. Fantastic stuff. David Beckham, he's just appeared on the old Hot Wingers or whatever it's called. He's just, what's it called? The Hot Ones hosted. That's him trying some hot spice. Yeah, sort of, I just thought that was quite nice. Oh, look at this dog. I love this dog. For those listening on podcasts, sorry, this is a dog standing over a baseball. This is the baseball player Shohei Ohtani's dog, Decoy, who delivered the first pitch before a game at the LA Dodgers Stadium. Isn't that cute? So cute. And yours for £725,000, an entire model village. Yeah, you'd expect any very deep pockets, says the Daily Mail, but Polperro has gone on the market for £725,000. It's a 1:24 scale model of the village, the full scale version, which would set you back 500 million. There you go. Cute dog. And I'm afraid no time for the quiz this week. It's been a tricky week. Have a lovely 18 minutes, and I will see you very shortly over at the island with the girls doing the Curly Cooks of Croydon. So see you in a moment. Oh, sorry, Faith. We'll do it. We'll do it at the beginning of next week, and then we'll do another one towards the end of next week too. All right, sweetie. Lots of love, and